Hello, my name is Mildred and I am the founder of School of Programming and Software Development. I'll be your instructor for this course. This is the first course in the Transition to Tech series, and in this course we are going to delve into topics that will help you get a clear understanding of what programming is and what software development is. We want you to understand how to define programming and understand the purpose of instructing computers. We also want you by the end of this week's lesson to be able to describe the different software development process and all of the stages of software development. We hope that at the end of this lesson also you'll be able to identify the different skills that are needed to delve into the software development field and be able to differentiate between a programmer, a developer, and an engineer. We also will look at different keywords and acronyms that are used most frequently in the field and help you to understand what they mean. And at the end of this week, you should be able to begin exploration of the different parts in software development based on your interest and your strength. Now, what is programming? Now, we hear the word coding used most of the time. Programming, coding, they are used interchangeably, and programming or coding is just a way of giving a specific instruction to a computer to execute a task. And these instructions are written in a language that the computer understands. Now, some of these are the different programming languages that we have. There are different types of programming language. When we get to the end of this week and you understand the different types of developers and the different languages for the different types of developers, you'll be able to know what language you want to choose and how to give instructions to a computer to execute a task. Now, what is software development? When we talk about development, we're talking about planning, requirement gathering. You have meeting with stakeholders, you design, you now begin to execute those plans, and then you test, go through every quality control that you need to go through, and then you put it out there. Be it a real estate developer or anything, it is the same definition that development has. So when we come to software development, it's still the same process of planning, gathering requirements, designing. And now when we have this plan, the requirements, we have the design, we begin to code this design or program this design to come to life, to do what we want it to do. And then we test to make sure it is doing what is expected to do. And then we deploy or implement for end users, put it on the internet, send it to production. And end users will use this. And when we have end users using this, then we need a way of supporting these applications when they're out there, and also maintaining them by having security upgrades, operating system upgrades, and all of those things. And these are the things that we'll look at in this course. So software development is just that process of the planning, the requirement gathering, designing, programming, testing, deploying, maintaining, and supporting application. And this is actually the life cycle of software development. Now, a programmer is a person who writes instructions that tell a computer how to function. Now, sometimes you find people use programmer and developer interchangeably. A programmer is just simply more of someone who has a business requirement, who is told what functions to create, and they write instructions to tell the computer how to create that function. But now a developer is now a person who applies all of the computer science principles to design and solution creation. Now, while a developer is more in-depth or has more requirements than a programmer, most of the time they are used interchangeably. A software developer is also a programmer, but a programmer might not be a developer. A programmer might just be someone who is fixed in one area. Oh, I know how to code in Python, and so I can create functions that perform a specific task in Python. But a developer knows beyond just creating functions, but applying different principles that will help not just to write the code, but how to store and optimize that code, how to manage resources, how to track the code changes, how to test and debug problems. These are the functions of a software developer. So while programmers most of the time graduate into being a software developer, all software developers are actually programmers in their own right. So if you want to become a software developer, there are different things that you need, and we can group these into hard skills and soft skills. Now, for hard skills, you need to understand the programming language. Become a programmer first. You need to understand data structure and algorithm so you can store and retrieve data efficiently. Understand databases, how to test and debug, version control to track code changes, also cloud computing where you deploy these applications. And then you need to have some soft skills like problem solving skills, collaboration skills, because you work within a team. You need to be able to communicate, you need to have logical and analytic reasoning, and be able to work under pressure most of the time. So now that we know or understand what it is that we need to become a programmer, let's delve deeper into the different types of developer that we have in the next lesson.